And this year we're starting with people submitting content that they want us to post. And that's like when I post on my Snapchat stories, they'll send some photos so then we can do a little photo dump. And that's so cool. Just seeing, everyone without even posing for social media, getting on there and having a good time.
We are surrounded by content. Content shapes who we follow, how we lead, what we buy, and even what we believe. Welcome to the Content Generation Podcast, a Class Intercom production where we focus on the stories that come to life in schools all over the world. We highlight the students, educators, and communities who share the content that shapes our future. Hey, Jill, it is really fun to be back talking about the Content Generation Podcast, but it's also really fun that we are now in October thinking about a school year that's really getting up to speed now.
Yeah, definitely. This is always that time. It feels like we're hitting full stride, but there's still a long way to go to a holiday break. And it's really an exciting time too. I think change of seasons a lot of places. And also a big holiday for me, Digital Citizenship Week.
Fantastic. Digital Citizenship Week really sits in the middle of this month, in the middle of this semester. And I think it's a really important time for us to be focusing on really that opportunity to get students engaged in content creation in some awesome ways.
Definitely. I think everybody knows it's definitely a passion of mine as well as here at Class Intercom, but we have a lot of exciting events planned. For sure, one of the big ones coming up is our Content Generation Workshop, 5th annual. We'll just have a couple hundred kids involved across the country. It's just amazing to me. And then we'll also be heading over to iTech in Des Moines, Iowa to host our second live student social media contest. So really promoting those student users across the country.
I want to dive back into the Content Generation Workshop because really, we've ramped up a lot this year. We've been doing it for a while now, but we're getting better at it. And we've got some tremendous speakers coming, a lot of virtual activity, which is really fun to see. We always cap our in-person one because, while it's really fun to be in person, it's impractical to be operating in as many places as we need to engage students in. So we've got some really fun things.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have those 150 kids here in person, but I think too, if you're an adult, you're listening to this, you can stream in for free. You can come for part of the day if you want. But these speakers are incredible and our students are going to learn so much, but so are the adults, me included, because our lineup is fantastic.
Speaking of really exciting students, I got the chance to sit down with Patrick Cogan, and I can tell you, I was inspired. I'm a fan. I'm all in his camp. Pinkerton Academy has been with us in Class Intercom for a while now, and they are doing some incredible things.
They are, and Patrick is a cool kid. I don't know him personally yet, but I've heard so much from Julia Mitchell, their communication director there. So shout out to her for getting students involved, giving him the platform to really showcase and grow his talents and his interests.
It was really fun. Even just the week after I got a chance to talk to him, all of a sudden, he's in more places, and now I'm another one of his fans, and it's going to be really exciting to see what he does. But it's also been really exciting to see what he's done with the school so far and the opportunities he's gotten there, which he's leveraged and taken full advantage to now be doing some really important content creation outside of school. So I'm really excited for everyone to get to listen to that conversation.
For sure.
Well, welcome back to the Content Generation Podcast. I am excited to chat with a student today, and this student is Patrick Cogan. Patrick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on as we've been catching up, and I got introduced through your teacher, and I'm really excited to talk about all of the different things you're doing in content generation. But first things first, where are you? Where do you go to school?
So my name is Patrick. I go to school in Derry, New Hampshire at Pinkerton Academy.
Cool. And tell me a little bit about Pinkerton Academy.
So it's the largest independent high school in the United States, semi-private, and it's awesome. Over 3,000 kids at the school. I think like 34 or something buildings. It's pretty massive. It's like a mini college campus. And but yeah, I've had great opportunities at Pinkerton. Being able to do social media as a class and taking an independent study, which normal like public schools don't normally have.
Yeah, no, super cool program, and love what Pinkerton's doing. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with social media.
Yeah, so I started as a sports videographer as a freshman, and I started in winter doing basketball videos, and that's really like shout out my teacher, Miss Mitchell. She gave me a pass so I could film the Pinkerton athletics games. So I filmed there, and from then on, I fell in love with videos. And I had been doing videos before previously, like those YouTube videos that everyone did, and yeah, and then I really boosted my quality and used her camera a lot. And then I was able to buy my own camera, and I started working for some bigger companies. And then I switched over from video to social media.
So time out. You said you worked for some bigger companies. So not only were you doing video as a freshman, sophomore, but you started doing videos for external companies as a job, right?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your clients, right? So you have a company doing videography. You're a senior in high school, and you're booking gigs with what kind of companies?
Yeah. So I started out with NH Sports Page, which is the largest high school sports website in New England. So we cover sports throughout the year, through the school year. And football, volleyball, basketball, and I do videos as well as I run all the graphics that we do for that company. And then also I started in my sophomore year. I just flew out to DC and I wanted to film for the XFL, which is a spring football league. So it's for the athletes that want to make the NFL but aren't there yet. And Dwayne Johnson owns the league, and I got into film. And
So wait, Dwayne Johnson is the one that he's got a little nickname, right?
The Rock, yep.
The Rock,
Yep,
right?
The
Yes.
Rock.
Okay. So Dwayne the Rock Johnson essentially hired you, right?
Yep.
And you flew down to DC. You're getting to work with XFL. Made that connection. Did you show them some of your high school work? Or how did they sort of like look at you and say, "Yeah, why don't you just go shoot some video for us?"
Well, yeah. So originally, ESPN has a rule where you're not allowed to film any of their games. So I had to just take photos and then film pregame. And then when I got there, luckily it was a sold out game in DC. So all of the league people were there. So I got to meet some great connections like Eve Godat and Brooke Sherman. And from there, they asked me if I wanted to film the game because they were a little bit understaffed. So I filmed the game for them. They ended up loving it. And then come January of last year, the XFL merged with the United States Football League, and that became the United Football League with Fox Sports and Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia.
So now you're working for the UFL in that combination league now, right?
Yeah.
XFL, UFL, and what does that look like? What does it look like for you shooting video for a game? Like, what do you do?
So, I mean, it's a great experience, working with some older people as well. Like I'm the youngest in the company. My parents had to sign a waiver to make sure that I was good to film in the company. And so I work for them. And for the past couple of months, I've been flying out to games. I went to Dallas, which is their headquarters. So that's where all the teams live. And then they fly out to their home cities like St. Louis and DC. So it's really fun. I get there a couple hours early and I, film pregame, get some content out. It's always getting content out. And that's what Pinkerton really helped me do. was to learn how to have fast turnarounds and just be great. And so, yeah, I mean, it's an awesome experience. I film pregame, during the game. I'm on the sidelines. It's such a great experience.
So let's back up a moment. You said some of the things that you were getting to do at Pinkerton Academy have helped prepare you for working, obviously, with older people, but also working in an industry that's very fast paced. And sports doesn't slow down. They're not going to call an extra timeout for you to sort of like figure out your camera or whatever you got to do, right?
Yeah.
So like, how did Pinkerton Academy prepare you for this job you have now?
Yeah, so Pinkerton's great. Our athletics are the best, or one of the best in the state. And just being able to capture, my friends and the varsity athletes was awesome. And, working with Miss Mitchell over the past 3.5 years has been great. She gave me a chance, and look what I've done now in my portfolio. And I love doing social media, and I found a new passion alongside video that I can use in any job that I want, because I just love doing social media, posting every day on our socials, and using Class Intercom every day as well to make that happen.
Now, you mentioned to me a little bit that there's some purpose in what you're covering for social media for Pinkerton Academy. Pinkerton Academy, of course, being semi-private, so there's sort of some overlap, but also recruiting other students is important to Pinkerton Academy's success. Tell me a little bit about how you're a part of that process.
Yeah, so every year, we lay out a content plan. So I run most of our social medias, and that's what prepared me for the UFL. Was I was in these meetings talking about, what do we want to do this year? What's our content plan? What's our goals? And that helped me, especially when we do Pinkerton Day of Giving, so everyone gets to donate to Pinkerton to help with any of our resources. So I made the video for that and was posting on social media every day, and just really helping them gather the resources that they need to make that day successful.
Cool. So you've got a purpose, right? Like, so fundraising being one of those that you've helped in developing fundraising goals. You mentioned recruiting students was part of
Yeah.
what you did. Are you making content? Like, what sort of content do you make to help recruit a student to come to Pinkerton?
Yeah, so we're just making videos that or photo and video that really show the campus as a fun experience,
Yeah.
and posting about athletics, while also posting about our teachers and our facilities. And we have a new building coming up, so it opens in January, so we're posting constantly about that. And yeah, I mean, it's constant posting and doing throwback Thursdays and Machine Mondays, because we're the Astros, so Astro Machine,
Cool.
Machine Monday. And yeah, just posting different stuff. And then especially now we've transitioned to Fridays. We're going to start posting Instagram Reels and TikToks. So really getting on our students' For You pages, and relating to them as a community.
Cool. You mentioned meetings, right? So you're getting together with meetings at the school, and obviously your teacher's a key part of that. But like, what's the rest of that team look like?
Yeah, so it's Miss Mitchell, and then also Dr. Powers, who is our head of school, and then Mr. Perez, who's the associate head of school. So it's really meeting with different people that need social media help, and making sure that I'm there to like help them through it, because I have like the younger lens, and then they have the information, and then I create it whatever they need. And yeah, I mean, it's such a great opportunity and experience that most kids don't get to experience, is being in those meetings and talking about what we need to do and what we need to accomplish.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about sometimes is the point of view being really important, right? So, as a videographer, obviously, you get sort of some unique points of view, but how has your point of view really helped color the type of content that the school projects now that they're inviting you as a student to really be a key part in those meetings and developing that content?
Yeah, well, I think me being a student really helps, understanding what I would like to see on social media and shouting out, our teachers and shouting out our athletics. Athletics I'm obviously a big part of, and just like showcasing that, and having my perspective of being a sports fan, and loving all of our teachers at the academy, and wanting to see more of different people at the school. So like now we are launching heavily into our head of school, Dr. Powers' social media, also Mr. Perez, who's our assistant head of school, showcasing them in real scenarios so that they're not just the guys that are hiding away in their offices and not talking to the community. So really showcasing them as people at the academy like us.
Awesome. Do you ask your friends about the content? Do
Yeah,
you have
yeah. So
conversations with them? Yeah.
sometimes I'll post on my Snapchat story and ask what everyone wants to see.
Nice, nice. So you're sort of sourcing ideas from Snapchat from your friends?
Yep.
What do they tell you? Do they say like this will work or this won't work, or
Well,
what do they tell you?
that's a great thing. We create our own content, but then we also get a lot of content. And this year we're starting with people submitting content that they want us to post. And that's like when I
Cool.
post on my Snapchat stories, they'll send some photos so then we can do a little photo dump on Fridays. And that's so cool. Just seeing, everyone without even posing for social media, getting on there, and parents, on Facebook. Parents love seeing their kids at school and having a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're sourcing content from a number of students, friends, even parents who are shooting you that content. How has that really changed the authenticity for that content?
Not to drag on my teacher, but it was lacking a little bit, so that I brought a little bit more structure, and now I'm the social media person, and she handles because she's a director of communications, so she handles everything like that, and then I kind of just take over social media. And with Class Intercom, it's really easy to do that. And just really, showcasing everything that we do, having, again, like a view of a student, it really helps with, production and making sure that we're having a good time on social media. And seeing what we need on social media and what we need to post about, reminders. And I get the emails about the homecoming tickets and the rivalry games, and then I decide which ones should be posted, and having that view of a great social media account and posting frequently. And every summer we meet and we discuss what do we want to see on weekly posts, and then we do that, edit that, and move forward.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you're as a videographer. You mentioned to me earlier that you have clients that are significant clients, right? Like UFL, you're getting to work with, and you're doing some of those things, and you're also launching out some other types of videography work. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this year, I'm flying out to Dallas in like April, and I'm going to start doing some wedding content, and then also some social media solutions content. So brands can hire me, and I'll run some of their social media stuff, as well as just expanding the portfolio. I just did my first conference, filming a conference in last April, and that was super cool. That was a different experience than sports. And I'm always just trying to, expand my portfolio and not just have sports. But sports is really what I love doing and what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Cool. So sports are really your jam. We'll make sure to get some links out on your story so that we can link to some of your content. Do you have a website?
Yes, I do.
Sweet. So yeah, we'll get some links out there so that we can get some traffic to your website. But also, as you start thinking about different types of content, it sounds like you have a unique voice for places like the UFL that are obviously trying to reach younger audiences, right? They have a future to protect and to really help project their listeners and viewers. Like, how do you feel like some of your experiences at a high school level and the type of authenticity you've brought, how does that help in the work you're doing with those larger brands?
Yeah, so definitely filming for my high school, I get to experiment with different things that I wouldn't get to do with, a professional football league or, NH Sports Page where I'm, really tasked to do it and, get it done fast. Like in
Yeah.
July, I flew down to DC for a players showcase where players get to showcase their talent for the league and hopefully play in the spring. So, and I filmed on a Sunday and that video was due on a Monday. And I was flying home and we had a different event to do. So it's really, defining that in high school sports and in, some of the smaller videos so that when I work with bigger clients with a, bigger following to, create that and make sure that it's put down. And something that I'm bringing in as well is, I spend a lot of time on TikTok and I'm saving stuff and saving stuff. So then once I get to these games, because I don't get to a lot of them because I don't live close to the stadiums, but once I get there, I can produce, 6 TikToks, 2 for different teams and then 2 for 2 for the league. So, it's producing content and making sure that I get all the content that I can out of just one day's worth of content. And that is, working with the school and, continuing to refine my craft and making sure that, I'm ready for these events.
I know we have some people that are that would be listening that might shoot video or look at some of that content. And like, what's the gear that you're using? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I'm a big Sony and Apple fan, diehard MacBook, and I've gone through one MacBook before as a videographer. Make sure to get the MacBook Pro if you become a videographer. That was my rookie mistake. But yeah, I'm a big Sony lover. I have 2 Sony cameras, and what I would say is my biggest um, advice is do not throw away or resell your cameras once you buy a new camera because like I do we're starting to do some different content especially with weddings and with conferences. You're going to want that second camera, and I use the Sony A6400 as my backup camera. That was my first camera. I started with a
Cool.
Nikon, but
Yeah.
Nikons are not great. And then I have a Sony A7S III, which is what I use now, and it's great. And having Pinkerton as well, now I'm able to use a GoPro, and I use different mics that I've now shown to my teacher, and now we have those for social media. And and then I also use an external monitor, and then I have over here, there, that is a suitcase. For anyone listening, it's a suitcase that is a camera bag, camera box. So I'm able to travel all around. I have 2 different camera boxes because that is for like full on travel and heavy duty. And then I have my camera bag for smaller shoots and all of that.
Sweet, sweet. And editing wise, what do you usually use?
So thankfully, it got shut off for a second, so I was very nervous this week. But my Adobe Pinkerton pays for my Adobe, which is the best thing on the planet. That's like $300 I don't need to pay for. So I use Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and After Effects, but mostly Premiere Pro.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. And so for your work with the UFL, obviously you've got lots of videos you've got to crank out really fast. I'm assuming they also have broadcast quality cameras that you're using when you're there
Yeah.
on site. And so you've been able to adapt to jumping into that space too.
Yeah, so I use my stuff as well as some of theirs, and it's really great to experiment with some different things, and one of my best memories of the game is running to different places around the stadium where I've hidden SD cards so that I can change them very fast, and uploading all that footage in a half you have 15 minutes and you have to eat and upload videos and edit something for the social medias, but most importantly, eating. And yeah, I mean, it's super fun, but having the opportunity to use like ESPN quality cameras has been so cool.
That's awesome. Well, they're really fortunate to have you and have your perspective and be able to really get and benefit from the talent that you're bringing to the table. So you've been accelerating a career now as a high school senior. As we back up and say you're a high school senior, you're
Yep.
set to graduate in what, May of
Yeah, June.
2025? June
June.
of
Yeah.
2025. Fantastic. And congrats on that coming up. But
Yeah.
not to get the cart too far ahead of the horse, what's next after you graduate high school in another 6 months?
So I've been talking with, I have connections with Fox because they're the ones that run the social medias now for the UFL. And, there's a couple of possibilities and opportunities that I could take at Fox right after high school. Possibly a gap year and just working for a year and, fully embracing myself in the sports world. Or I'm looking at a couple different colleges that are a little bit farther because they have a lot more sports. In New Hampshire, we don't have a lot. We have one minor league baseball team, and that is it.
Yeah.
But we live close to Boston, so that's fine. But yeah, so definitely going far. Florida, Arizona, places I'm looking at, and just experiencing. Because being in New Hampshire, you're kind of you don't have that much experience with the world, but then that's why I love traveling, and especially with the UFL, they've awarded me with flying to DC, flying to Dallas, and embracing those cultures, and it's just been so much fun doing all of that.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to root for what you've been doing and the certainly experience you've had. Fan of Pinkerton Academy. Huge shout out to Miss Mitchell and everything that she's doing to provide those opportunities for you and for the other students there. So I think that's amazing. Anything you want to leave our listeners with as we welcome them to the content generation?
Just believe in your students if you're a teacher, and really make sure that they have all their resources, and that, they'll do great, like I did, using Canva and now learning Photoshop, and really just give everyone an opportunity, because if the league didn't give me an opportunity, if Miss Mitchell didn't give me an opportunity, I wouldn't be here on this call. So it's so great. Make sure to keep emailing and keep annoying these people, and they will finally get back to you, and you guys can collaborate on some great stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, and we'll throw some links in the bio as well. Thanks.
Thank you.